I believe I drank a can of beer when I was like 8 or 9 years old. And from then, it just like from the age of 8 or 9, drinking beer and knowing that I could feel better, different, feel good fast by doing something, that kind of gave me the idea of like, wow, now I can find other things and do other stuff to feel better faster. And it just took off from there, basically. The dynamic of our brothers being brothers, and okay, it was abnormal in the first place because it was our father raising us, which was very unusual, and that put a very big strain on any normal relationship we could have had. We basically had to do the job of the mother and cleaning the house and doing the dishes and stuff. And so how could we have a normal relationship with that in place? It was very difficult. It didn't make it any better, the fact that I got into trouble and I started misbehaving at a young age. You were, the good one, I was the bad one. I was labeled very early, and I was the problem. That was me. I was pretty much absent from a relationship from anybody. I mean, when my addiction took hold and my alcoholism took off, that prevented me from having any type of relationship from anybody. What it does is it distances you. It took me away from any chance at any loving, caring relationship with anybody. What happens is when you're actively drugging and drinking and you're an alcoholic, it becomes the number one priority in your life every day. It takes the place of everything: family, job, girlfriend, wife, husband, kids, whatever. Okay, you do that first. You make sure you feel okay, and then make sure you have enough, so you're going to feel okay 6 hours later, 2 hours later, the next hour, the next day, whether it be alcohol or drugs or both. So when you say, okay, I didn't have a good relationship with you during that period, it was me not having a good relationship with anybody or anything. You know, I was just by myself on an island, getting drunk and high first. That involves like a lot of work and a lot of planning and a lot of time, to stay comfortably high and drunk every day. It's a burden, and that burden literally takes the place of all the other burdens of, brother, wife, whatever. The first time I decided to try to stop drugging and drinking, I was locked up in Florida, in Orlando, Orange County. I was 30, I think I was 32, 33. And the county jail I was in Orange County, Orlando, was um, had a rehab. And I saw a guy, a counselor, who was he was about 52 years old, 50 years old, around there, and he had gotten sober and quit drinking and drugging when he was about the age I was, about 32. And he had a really good life. And he used to tell us how his life was. And he used to tell us that, he had a house and a wife and his kids loved him. And he'd pull up every day in a Cadillac. And, you know, he didn't like rub it. He wasn't proud or rubbing it in our faces or anything. He just said, my life is good. It's been good for the last 20 years since I stopped drinking and drugging. He just made me realize that it was possible, that there was another way to live without getting high and drunk, and that it was worth a try. And that maybe I could attempt to try, because at that point I was 32 years old and I had nothing. I was locked up in Florida with nothing. Like, I owned nothing. I had not a pot to piss in, is a common expression. And I looked around, and I see other people married, houses, cars, kids, families, like normal people, like living normally. And I really didn't know about that. I didn't think it was possible. And then when I sat in that chair and I looked at that guy and I saw him doing it, and I thought, when I'm 50 years old, I would like to be in a position similar to his. So I decided to try getting sober for the first time. Up until then, I just really thought that I was going to just, be high or drunk or both every day, like my whole life. I thought that was, you know, I thought that was the correct way to live. I really did. First time I got 34 months. That first time I got sober, I stayed alcohol and drug free 34 months. Then I relapsed. All right, then I got sober again for 3.5 years. Okay, and I relapsed, and only 4 or 5 months I used, but I almost got locked up again after that relapse. But that relapse was a little shorter. But things that, like, whenever I relapsed, things got just as bad, but faster every time. All right, so I stopped again, and then I put together 6.5 years. Okay, then I relapsed again, and I got sober for the last time June 6, 2010 was the last time I used. Well, June 5th, I think, the day before. That was my first day sober this time. My last, this is my latest stretch here.
Is saying, "Oh, you got to cut stuff." Not right. I already know how to cut stuff.
Then why are you letting her do it?
Right. Because I don't know how to cut a chicken.
Then you don't know how to cut chicken.
Right. So then.
And she's teaching you how to cut a chicken.
Right.
So don't say you know how to cut a chicken.
No, she says she's teaching me how to cut
a chicken. I'm teaching you how to cut the chicken.
No, you're not. You never said that.
Well, I'm telling you now. It's useful for when we do go out at better places.
It's because when you get sober and you have a life, and you have responsibilities, whereas in the old days, I didn't have any responsibilities. Oh, the drudgery. You got audio?
Yeah.
Oh, the drudgery. Removing sand from waiters before you bring into wife's house. Because if one drop of sand falls on the floor, you will be castrated. Wait, can't say that either. All right, just gotta put them in the house. Now I have obligations, responsibilities, like work, bills to pay. I guess it is irony, And plus, I've become very selective and choosy. I only have a certain amount of free time, and it's very difficult. Like when you come up and visit, and it's like, oh, okay, I haven't seen you for 9 months or 4 months or something now. Okay, like how do you cram like 9 months worth of doing stuff in 1 month or 3 weeks or something? You can't, And when I try to, I get, it's too like it's too overwhelming, I'm fortunate that you like enjoy going to them. It's a chance for us to hang out and do something like together, because like you say, we're always busy. We never have time to do much. So it's a good thing where we can hang out and do something. But the meeting is first and foremost for me. And I sit there and just get what I need at the meeting, because it's not your medicine. It's my medicine. Like I go there to stay cured for that day. So I don't drink or take a drug that day, basically. So then after the meeting, we can, hang out and do something. I think what you get out of those meetings, what you obtain is a better understanding of recovery, of alcoholics and addicts, because there's a belief in the program that anybody who's not an addict or an alcoholic can never like fully know or understand like why people many people cannot stop drinking or drugging. Many people stop for a period of time and then return to it. And the common belief amongst people who are not addicts or alcoholics is, well, why'd you go back to drinking and drugging if it's bad for you? Why don't you just continue stopping? And they think it's just a matter of like a decision. But it's more to it than that. And if you attend meetings, you can get maybe closer to a better understanding of of what it's all about and why it is difficult for an addict or an alcoholic not to take a drug or a drink. Um, just that if you become addicted to alcohol and drugs, and if you are a real alcoholic or a real addict, you will it will literally take over and cause you to do things that you would never ever have dreamed of doing. Stuff you will do things that you only read about and that you or you watch on TV. Unimaginable things you will do to get a drink or a drug, and you will have to have it, get it, and you will need it every day, and you will stop at nothing to get it.